More support for Singapore's protection ecosystem kicks in today in the form of a $15 million care fund for social service agencies. It's a welcome move for a sector that's marked by high emotional demands and complex cases involving domestic violence. But how well is the work really understood? Chloe Teo speaks to a child protection officer.
To start us off, why don't you just share with us, how do you describe your job role even to your family and to your friends?
We protect the children lah. So I think that's what my mom and dad understand it as, like Hashimah just protects the children. But I think when you go into like the depth of it, it's a lot more about how we ensure that to happen, right? So I think the terms that we use are like conducting a social investigation, finding out more from the stakeholders, the family members themselves on what the harm is, how we can safety plan, work collaboratively with parents to kind of address any complicating factors that may impact the parenting, cause certain harm to the children, and we safeguard around those situations that we find out through our social investigation.
How this translates to work on the ground can look different every day.
There is no 2 days that is the same. But there are many different things that encompasses our work, right? So when we get a case, typically we will conduct interviews with the children. This could be at various locations. We also interview parents. Beyond the family itself, we need to work with the stakeholders of the family. So that could be the teachers. Then we may offer certain fetching services. Sometimes we bring the kids for medical examination should there be any needs for it. So our day-to-day is really wherever the family takes us for the day. And sometimes when you plan for something, you plan from A to Z, it ends up being like a 1 to 3.
What would you say are some challenges in this role?
Not every client is ready, but the way that protective service works at times is we see a need, we need to give you a solution in some sense. We need to support you in the end of it all. Like we don't see it as we need to just investigate. We understand there's needs. If you're not ready, we'll just pack it up and move. Like we cannot do that.
So I've also gathered some common views and maybe misconceptions that we could go through one by one if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
And maybe you can tell me whether it's true or false. So the first one would actually be, due to the nature of the job, officers have limited work-life balance.
Okay, I think a true or false answer for that question is a bit hard to say, but I mean I would go ahead to say that actually when it comes to the role, the protection officers, it's quite hard for us to just drop our work and leave by a certain hour or only clock in at a certain hour lah. So when it comes to office hours, I wouldn't say that we have that. But I think when it comes to work-life balance, like we tried our best to have certain non-negotiables for us. So we also try to create certain healthy boundaries with our clients, just so they know that at the end of the day, we also will be leaving the family ecosystem, and we want them to be sustainable in seeking help or supporting themselves.
So the next one would be, the easiest solution in most cases is to just remove a child from their home.
That's false. That's not the easiest thing to do, let alone something that we want to do. So I think for us, when it comes to removing a child from anywhere, whether it's parents' house, from any possible living arrangement that they're in, it's our last resort.
But how exactly are these decisions made?
A case is allocated to an officer. So there is one main point of contact when it comes to case management. But everything related to the case itself is heavily discussed with the supervisor. So there's a lot of team-related discussions regarding next steps, etc. And I think this helps us to at least know it counters any possible biases that anyone may have.
She adds that behind every one of these cases is a family in need with potential to break the cycle of violence.
Most of my clients, I can safely say that they love their children, right? A lot of them just do not know or may not have the abilities or capacity to be caring for their children in the safest or most appropriate manners at times. So then it's also how can we reduce their own caregiver workload, their own workload or stresses, so that they have the capacity to unlearn some of the things, relearn some appropriate or safe ways of parenting, teaching, caring for their children.
It is these aspects of her work that will never be simply quantifiable.
There's always been a discussion about how many cases do child protection officers or protection officers in general have, and always people try to nitpick on, no, it's only 40, it's only more or less, etc. And I don't think it's a numbers game, because at the end of the day, no matter how many cases we have, there's a lot of touch points for each cases. If I get one case that has 3 children, each of them are in different schools. So I have to talk to the parents, I have to talk to each of the schools. Then sometimes there are other social service involved. So then there may be 1 or 2 other touch points.
So what keeps her going?
I think for me is knowing that at the end of the day, we are changing lives some way or another. Whether it's whether in a small way or in a bigger way, it's hard to tell within our time with the family. But it's the belief that there is some change happening.